It might be impossible for many to believe. And for me, in a way, it is also impossible. To open your eyes and see that they are there, beside me, acting as if I wasn't there. Knowing they had shared their intimacy, that they let me be part of their life night after night. It is still difficult for me to understand. I have been living with lions for 3,000 nights. You can really discover the lion's life in the dark. Which is why it has been practically impossible to study them until now. Thanks to the generosity of this pride, I have been able to get to know them more than ever. I've watched them be born and die. I have witnessed them in their glory days and during their most difficult moments. I have seen hundreds of battles with their arch enemies, the hyenas. I can now understand why their life is the hardest and most passionate of all the animals. This is a privileged testimony from within a pride of lions. The testimony of a real king. The king of the savanna. Life in a kingdom of lions can change quickly. Overnight, everything had changed for the pride that I have been studying for years. After the nomads had entered, the king, Estipion, was expelled. That exceptional lion found himself obligated to abandon the territory and lived in an unknown place. Many lionesses were still captured while the cubs were beginning to disappear. Due to the violence of the Conquest, Anayeruka made an unexpected decision. Fleeing with the cubs was the first time that she had abandoned the kingdom, had been separated from the pride. Now, she was heading into unknown territory, barren plains, where hundreds of hyenas lived, the lion's greatest enemy. I had never seen a lioness flee alone like this. A difficult and dangerous journey awaited her. But if anyone could face the risks of crossing like this one, it was Aayeruka. And I knew that full well. She wasn't the friendliest of lions. She was serious. Sometimes even surly. But for some reason, she was the first to accept me. She opened the doors to the pride for me. When I arrived at Masai Mara in 2007, I had worked with captive felines, but everything was different in the savanna. Here, the animals live in freedom. You are the one who is invading their territory. There are enormous and dangerous herbivores, such as hippos, elephants, and buffaloes. For predators, humans are a threat, a competitor. Or sometimes, we are prey. During my first years on the savanna, I was able to study the great felines daily and saw how different they were from one another. Leopards are solitary and surly animals, the most genuine expression of the wild. They can be very aggressive with humans and won't hesitate to attack if threatened. Most of their life they live alone, except when they are mating or tending to their young. Cheetahs are somewhat sociable. They live like a family until they go off on their own. The males create alliances, but it is more common for them to survive alone. Lions are a full-fledged family. Members of the pride support each other hunting, looking after the cubs, and protecting the kingdom. But their family model is truly airtight. They never accept lionesses from another pride, and the males kill the cubs after seizing a kingdom. Nobody from outside the family circle is welcome in a pride of wild lions. And least of all, a human. Which is why I was surprised by the closeness of that lioness. Anayeruka was an expert hunter. It is incredible to see her advancing under the cover of grass and suddenly leap towards a prey which was 3 times her weight. She alone could bring down wildebeest, zebra, and topis. Her technique was extraordinary. She was an acrobat and could even reach her chosen prey while in the air. Sometimes there were extremely difficult battles to bring them down. But despite their strength, their way of killing her prey is remarkable. She never hurt the animal which she hunted. She tried to quickly stop their breathing so they wouldn't suffer. She was an expert in what we call the kiss of death. Within seconds, the prey was unconscious. Anayeruka always met the pride's needs. When the hyenas appeared, she would fight to the end and was always the last to abandon the prey. She was the first lioness to offer me her friendship, who opened the doors to the pride for me. But she did it her way. She allowed me to be a silent observer that accompanied her at night, but that didn't interfere in her life. She let me be with her, always respecting the invisible boundary which was never crossed. Soon, the other lionesses began to imitate her behavior. Tonight, the bride have come directly over to me. It was unbelievable to have them so close. It's amazing how big they are. When there is a short distance between us, I was able to see mud on their bodies. I can see their honey-colored eyes, quietly looking at me. Little by little, I was able to get closer to them, until finally, they accepted me as another member of their group. I think we are getting to know each other. They were starting to show me their first clear affection. As a naturalist, it really was a privilege to observe them this way. I could document their undiscovered behavior, as I had never dreamed possible. The mothers trained their cubs to fight from a very young age. Even if there is enough food, they hardly ever got a morsel, if they hadn't won it. Fights with the hyenas are a daily event, and not only over food. Both species fought to rule the kingdom. And they show frightening aggressiveness. Soon, I discovered what each different roar meant. Sometimes they use them to communicate. Other times, to mark their territory. And then, there is the most feared roar. The roars of war, which leave a kind of long cough when they finish. It was a clear message that a battle was on the horizon. The conquest of Estipion and Sukuma opened the way to prosperity. Anayeruca had a very close relationship with Estipion. Lions mating rituals are quite surprising. They mate every 20 minutes over a period of 4 or 5 days. It is a genuine honeymoon which lasts all day and all night. It was thrilling for me to portray those happy moments in the lions' lives. But life on the savanna changes quickly. One morning, I see her trying to ambush a group of zebras near the Mara River. She hesitates for a second and misses the chance to capture one. After that, she disappears. I didn't see her again for nearly 2 months. Suddenly, she appeared one morning among the bushes. I start to follow her from a few meters away. She isn't hunting, but she is walking with purpose. She knows I'm with her, and it's clear she doesn't mind. It seems she wants to take me to some place important. She crosses a few woods, checking time and time again that there aren't any hyenas or buffaloes around. Then she shows me something that I will never forget. Her cubs. Aayeruka has brought me to a lion's most secret and intimate place. There she is, before me, with her 2 cubs, barely a few days old. She feeds them carefully, without stress. Lionesses go into hiding to give birth. it's the most sensitive time of their lives. If the hyenas or other predators find them, they would undoubtedly kill the cubs. She allows me to film from up close. I wasn't in any way a threat to her. A while later, Anayeruka moves the cubs, clutched in her mouth, with extreme caution. When they are a month old, the nursing cubs begin eating meat too. In the beginning, it is not at all easy, so they look for the softest parts of the prey. Back then, Estipion guaranteed peace and quiet in the kingdom. Anayeruka hunted and could manage the feeding with ease. Male lions distance themselves from the cubs, but Estipion spends many hours with them. When they started to eat meat, he is always concerned that they had enough food. His relationship with them was really quite exceptional. I set out to follow the adventures of these small lions. It was quite impossible for me to imagine the exciting story that was in store for these cubs. Over the following days, everything speeds up. The nomad lions attack their territory. First, Sukuma is gravely injured, which led to his death. Then, they overthrow Estipion and seriously attack Muesca. At that point, Anayeruka flees the kingdom, leaving the bride which has protected her up until then. She begins a dangerous journey into the unknown. In the morning, the lioness moves through the savanna with her cubs. They haven't eaten in days. Suddenly, one of the cubs spots a redback. But it escapes easily. It will be a while longer before they can hunt for themselves. Anayeruka is entering hyena territory. Hyenas hate lions. And they know exactly who lives on the borders of each kingdom. They feel no pity when they detect even the slightest weakness in their prey or in one of their competitors. Now many of them are dismembering a dead hippo. They are competing with vultures to devour it. Hyenas have powerful jaws and are able to dismember any animal in a matter of seconds. Anayeruka has decided to go up a tree. She is observing the land from afar for possible danger. After careful deliberation, she decides to leave the cubs hidden in the bushes and gets ready to hunt. She edges forward along the plains that the Maasai call the Damalisk Plains. There aren't much prey around. The Great Migration abandoned Masai Mara months ago, and only prey that live here all year round are left. She walks through the long grass for many kilometers. She seems to have spotted a topi in the distance. Slowly, she moves towards it. She moves stealthily, trying not to make any noise. But Anayeruka is not alone. A hyena is following her closely and watching her every move. The lioness crouches. The topi seems not to have noticed her presence. Anayeruka slowly moves closer, waiting for her moment to attack. She moves closer. And suddenly pounces on him. The lioness manages to bring down the topi. But the hyena is even closer now. We have a hyena on the horizon. The scent of the hunt has reached its sensitive muzzle, and they know the lioness is here. It's a lone hyena and begins to make howling noises to alert the rest of the clan. We don't know if the lone hyena would be able to confront the lioness, but these are chilling noises for the lioness. Anayeruka is alone, without help from other lionesses in the pride. Soon, the hyenas start to arrive. They approach her, going directly towards her. Anayeruka needs to leave the prey, having barely eaten anything. On her return, she finds the cubs, hungry and afraid. She has no other choice but to try to hunt at night. She's beginning to realize that she's on hostile ground. Surviving here will be no easy feat. A few kilometers away, the lionesses from the pride start to roar. It's their way of calling to Anayeruka. They are looking for her, but Anayeruka doesn't answer. The new males are starting to dominate the territory. When the lionesses hunt, they snatch the food immediately. This is normal behavior in the first days of a conquest. They aren't sure about their strength yet, and they know that Estipion or other nomads could return at any given moment. Anayeruka is enjoying the last remaining minutes in the company of her cubs. But the most dangerous time for a mother lion is about to come. Tonight, she will have to fight to get some food. Anayeruka leaves her cubs up a tree, and she advances into the dark of the savanna. Leaving the cubs alone is very risky. But there is no other choice. She moves over the savanna. Prey is scarce around her. It won't be easy to hunt today. On the horizon is a herd of gazelles. She lunges at one of them, but it escapes by millimeters. Meanwhile, some hyenas are circling around the tree where the cubs are. Anayeruka continues with the hunt. She spots a topi. She begins to race and fails again. She stops at the stream to drink some water and continues her hunt. The lioness trains her attention on a warthog. She starts to race and manages to capture it. But hyenas appear from every corner. They stalk her closely. And the warthog manages to escape. But Anayeruka doesn't give up and tries again to hunt. Now she pounces on a gazelle and manages to capture it. The lioness is starving, but her only obsession is to bring it back to her cubs. Anayeruka has to travel 2 kilometers loaded with her prey in her mouth. It's extremely tiring. The lioness is exhausted. She can't continue and has to stop. Even so, this mother lion lifts the gazelle up again, continues her journey. Just a few meters away, a hyena is still close by. After making this huge effort, the lioness stops. She has finally reached her cubs. This mother and her children eat as fast as they can because they aren't alone. At once they are surrounded by hyenas. Anayeruka tries to confront them, but she fails. There are too many, so she resigns herself to fleeing. The lioness was able to save a small piece of meat. Now the cubs are fighting over it. It is too little food for the risks those three had run. So tomorrow, once again, they will have to fight to survive in the savanna. It is morning in Masai Mara. During the day, these wildlands show a different scene to the night. While the lions rest, the herbivores can once again move freely. The lion is the king of the savanna. But during my years of research, I have come to understand that the females play a key role in this kingdom. Within the pride, the roles are perfectly organized. The males protect the territory. Females take charge of hunting and keeping the family unit together. This to rule Masai Mara for thousands of years. They also are true queens of the savanna. These days, the young lions are learning to differentiate the animals around them. from the largest to the smallest. Little by little, they will understand the relationship they need to have with each one of them. But it is hard work, because there are more than 45 species of mammals and 500 types of birds living on the savanna. They are still young, but they know who their worst enemies are. The rivalry with the hyenas is imprinted on lions from a very young age, and it soon becomes a mutual hatred that lasts a lifetime. A few kilometers away, the hyenas take refuge in dens like this one. Mothers hide their cubs in underground holes, where they protect them with extreme zeal. But for a few hours a day, they come out to play. We are in front of the hyenas' den. Hyenas are also like families, just like the lions. However, there is no king in charge here. The female hyenas are much bigger than the males, and it's a queen who reigns at the den. The rest of the females and males will pay allegiance to this queen. We can see that they are family-orientated in their dens. There is a gushing love, an explosion of sociability. But when they leave the den, when the night falls, when they set out to hunt, or when they try to take away the prey from the lionesses, they turn into the lion's terror. For the lionesses in the pride, today's problem isn't the hyenas, but the new kings. It is a hot noon. The lionesses watch the males sleeping and take advantage to go hunting. There isn't much prey around. Mosca looks up. She has just seen 3 buffalo in the distance. Suddenly, the whole pride goes into hunting mode. And they move closer to the buffaloes. One of them has separated from the group. Now, it is in a forest area. The lionesses follow it. Then, Mosca decides to attack it. Another 2 lionesses surround the buffalo. One by one, they jump on it and try to bring it down. But it's not easy. Mosca latches onto it, but the buffalo is fighting with all its might, from side to side. It is a very big prey. The lioness is all alone trying to bring it down. And she's still suffering from the wounds from the nomads. Finally, she gives up and flees. They were on the verge of bringing it down, but in the end, the buffalo was too much for the lionesses. They must be starving to try and take on only 2 adults and 2 half-adult cubs to attack a buffalo of that size. Now the lionesses need to find an easier prey. Those days, I asked myself what might have become of Estipion. The previous king disappeared after the attack from the nomads, and I hadn't seen him since. Right now, I was about to get my answer. After the attack from the lionesses, the buffalo is still hurting, feeling hurt. He goes to a marshy area to take refuge. He isn't alone, however. He has managed to escape from the lionesses, but now there is another threat. A group of hyenas has followed him for kilometers. Now, he's surrounded, and they are not going to let him escape. The buffalo was bleeding to death, and they knew it. On the outside, the hyenas look relaxed, but the reality is different. They are perfectly united to leave him with no way out. But they have to be stealthy. They are aware that they can't make a single sound that might give them away. Estipion, after his expulsion from his kingdom, is now on these lands. It is noon, and he is sleeping, but any noise could wake him and ruin their strategy. Such an enormous prey has an incalculable value for these months of scarcity. The hyenas watch and wait patiently to see how the buffalo slowly takes his final breath. Slowly. To his end. They are very hungry, but their instinct tells them to wait until they are sure that the buffalo is dead. When the queen decides to start eating, the rest follow her example. The hyenas have to dip into the water to get the pieces of meat. Eating isn't easy on this terrain. There is plenty of meat, but only the strongest will get to eat. The rest will have to wait their turn in the background. Hierarchy is really evident among the hyenas. Soon the hyenas start fighting, forgetting that Estipion is in the vicinity. The fights get bigger and louder. Calm has been shattered by their fight for food. The noise ends up waking the lion. This old king knows those howls very well. He knows the hyenas are close and are fighting over food. The lion moves across the savanna. He cannot find them, but he knows that they aren't far away. Estipion might have seen something. He starts to run. The hyenas flee. They run in all directions. Abandoning the prey. This old Lion King manages to expel all the hyenas. Now, the buffalo is his. During my years of research, I have seen many moments of hunger in the prides. Adult lions can go various days without eating, but the cubs are the most vulnerable ones. Anayeruka knows that her cubs are very weak now. They must hunt and catch something today, or they won't survive. She walks for nearly an hour but finds nothing around her. In the distance, there seems to be a roar from afar. She seems to hear it too, but she continues on her way. Up ahead, she sees a warthog. She pounces on it. And manages to capture it. She tries to kill it quickly. She doesn't want to make any noise. She doesn't want the warthog to squeal, so the hyenas don't discover them. A hyena starts to stalk around the tree where the cubs are. Hyenas don't have the correct anatomy for climbing trees. But if the cubs come down, they will undoubtedly be killed. Anayeruka manages to kill the warthog. But she doesn't take a single bite. Her only obsession is to carry it back to her cubs. The lioness moves across the savanna. She moves hundreds of meters, laden down with the heavy warthog. She has to stop. It's very difficult for her to drag an animal that can weigh up to 150 kilos. She picks the warthog again and continues on her way. The lioness is making an extreme effort. She needs to stop again. She is absolutely exhausted. Meanwhile, a group of hyenas are running in the distance. The roar is getting closer and closer. Despite being exhausted, she lifts up the warthog once again and continues her journey. She is not going to stop until she finds her cubs. She walks on and on. The cubs seem to have seen her. Anayeruka managed to bring food to her cubs. Now, all three celebrate. Tonight, the hyenas seem to have disappeared. And the reason is very near. Estipion follows them relentlessly. He also suffered the terror of the hyenas when he was young. Now that he is an adult, he is more than willing to kill them if necessary. Now, the lion makes his way towards Anayeruka and her cubs. This old king is the cub's father, but I am not sure if he'll be able to recognize them, or if he will be aggressive towards them. They are outside his kingdom, and there is food in play. Estipion approaches, and Aayeruka tries to stop him. Both seem to recognize each other instantly. The lion also recognizes the cubs. Estipion heads towards the warthog. It looks like he's going to steal it, but he doesn't. He's just making sure that the little ones can eat easily. Very rarely has nature shown me such a striking scene. Estipion was still the same wise and generous lion, even under the most adverse circumstances. Today, these lions will have a quiet night, far from the hyenas and with plenty of food. At dawn, Estipion abandons Anayeruka and the cubs and goes his own way. This vanished lion has only one objective: to find other nomad males to help him reconquer his kingdom. Day and night, he wanders over the savanna, trying to find allies. Lone lions, like himself, that dream of dominating a territory. If he is lucky, he will form a coalition strong enough to fight and win. If not, he will die alone in exile. Sometime later, I began to hear roars from the other side of the river. They weren't communication roars, nor were they for marking territory. They were roars of war. Estipion had managed to form a coalition of 4 lions. That old lion was ready to recover his kingdom.